I used to smoke, and if you asked me why I couldn't just quit, I'd give you the exact same excuse you probably use. I said it helped me socialize. I said it helped me connect with people. We love to romanticize the smoke. But then you step inside from the balcony. Your clothes reek, you hear your partner frown, you hear your child let out a soft, dry cough. And in that split second, the romance is dead. A wave of self-disgust takes over. You call yourself weak. You call yourself undisciplined. But a few hours later, you light up again. Listen to me. The reason you keep failing isn't your weakness. It isn't a lack of discipline. And it has absolutely nothing to do with those cheap warnings on the side of the box. Because every time you take a deep drag and let the smoke slide down your chest, you are not making a social choice. You are activating a bloody, violent survival protocol with a 300,000-year-old history. Why would your highly evolved brain actively crave a lethal poison? The answer is dark, and it will completely redefine everything you know about willpower. Most popular science documentaries get this part completely wrong. When explaining the origins of smoking, they paint a cozy, romanticized picture. They show our ancient ancestors sitting around a crackling campfire, accidentally inhaling the smoke of burning leaves, and discovering a new way to bond with the tribe or connect with the spirit world. Just as you use the social connection excuse today, historians have projected that exact same romantic myth onto our past. But evolutionary biology doesn't care about cozy campfires. Nature is ruthlessly efficient. Evolution does not hardwire a permanent, universally addictive mechanism into the human brain just so a prehistoric hunter could chill. It requires too much energy. It carries too much risk. The truth is much darker. To understand what is actually happening inside your body when you crave nicotine, we have to travel to the Congo Basin. Deep in the rainforest, there is a hunter-gatherer tribe known as the Aka people. They live in a way that closely mirrors the Ice Age existence of our early ancestors. No modern medicine, just raw human endurance against a profoundly hostile environment. Dr. Ed Hagen, an evolutionary anthropologist from Washington State University, spent time studying the Aka, and he made a discovery that completely shattered the traditional narrative. He looked at the men in the tribe who smoked heavily. He didn't check their lungs. He checked them for something else entirely. Intestinal parasites, helminths, worms. The results were staggering. The Aka men who smoked the most had significantly lower levels of parasitic infections in their guts, and when they were treated with modern deworming medication, their biological craving for nicotine suddenly dropped. This wasn't a coincidence. You see, in the natural world, nicotine is absolutely not a recreational drug. It is a highly lethal neurotoxin. Plants didn't evolve nicotine to give humans a pleasant buzz. They evolved it as a botanical pesticide, a chemical defense mechanism designed to cause catastrophic nervous system failure in insects that tried to eat their leaves. When you inhale it, you aren't consuming a stress reliever. Your body is poisoning itself. So the obvious question is, why? Why would the human body volunteer to ingest a deadly pesticide? Welcome to the self-medication hypothesis. For hundreds of thousands of years, the greatest threat to human survival wasn't saber-toothed tigers. It was the microscopic killers, parasites, worms, and pathogens that lived in the dirt, the water, and the raw meat. These parasites would enter the body, burrow into the organs, and literally eat our ancestors from the inside out. To survive, early humans had to wage a desperate internal chemical war. They had to consume a toxin strong enough to kill the parasites, but just weak enough not to kill the human host. But here is the most terrifyingly brilliant part of this evolutionary design. Why smoke? Why not just chew the leaves and be done with it? Because of human anatomy. If you eat a toxin, your liver filters it. The digestive process is slow, it is inefficient. But your lungs contain roughly 70 square meters of alveolar surface area. That is the size of a tennis court folded up inside your chest. It is the ultimate, unfiltered backdoor into your bloodstream. When you inhale smoke, that neurotoxin bypasses the liver entirely. It shoots straight to the heart, and within 7 to 10 seconds, it violently breaches the blood-brain barrier. Nothing else in nature moves that fast. It is a physiological hack, a high-speed delivery system for chemical warfare. You are not smoking because you enjoy the taste. You are not smoking because you have a weak personality. You are smoking because your DNA is running a prehistoric, cellular-level antivirus program designed to keep you alive in a world that no longer exists. Your genome never forgot. Just think about the profound weight of that for a moment. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, when invisible death lurked in every stagnant pool of water and every piece of raw meat, your brain engineered a magnificent, flawless design of the natural world. That ancient cloud of smoke literally pulled our entire species back from the brink of extinction. It was a magnificent, flawless design of the natural world. But nature was hijacked. Welcome to evolutionary mismatch theory. The parasites are gone. Modern medicine, clean water, and antibiotics wiped out the microscopic monsters that used to eat our ancestors from the inside out. The wild enemies have been defeated. But evolution is agonizingly slow. Your DNA does not know that you live in the 21st century. Your biology still thinks you are fighting for your life in the freezing dirt of the Ice Age. Your genome still blindly, desperately craves that 7-second chemical defense mechanism. And then, the modern predators arrived. Billion-dollar corporations looked at the human nervous system and saw a massive, unguarded evolutionary loophole. They didn't invent your addiction. They simply mapped out a prehistoric survival protocol and exploited it on an industrial scale. They took that ancient botanical pesticide, the exact neurotoxin meant to kill intestinal worms, and they concentrated it to unnatural levels. They mass-produced it. They rolled it into perfect paper cylinders. They hid it inside sleek, glowing, fruit-flavored vape pods. They weaponized the 7-second hack. They didn't do this to protect you from parasites. They did it to turn your magnificent, life-saving evolutionary design into a relentless, multi-billion-dollar money-printing machine. They manipulated the chemistry so the poison breaches your blood-brain barrier even faster. They hijacked your biology. They hijacked your brain. They hijacked your survival. This is exactly why you fail when you try to quit on Sunday night, only to relapse on Monday morning. Society tells you to just use your willpower, but look at the reality of the battlefield. You are taking the fragile, conscious willpower of a single, exhausted individual and forcing it into a war against a brutal, deeply ingrained genetic protocol forged by 300,000 years of life-or-death human evolution. A single brain against the combined survival instinct of 1,000 generations. Of course you lose. It was never a fair fight. That is only half the tragedy. Let's go back to the beginning. Take a step back onto that balcony. The cold night air, the lingering, undeniable smell of stale smoke clinging to your skin. You open the sliding door, you walk back inside. You see your partner frown. You hear your young child let out that soft, dry cough in the quiet room. Why does that exact moment hurt so intensely? Why does the guilt feel so heavy, so fundamentally crushing that it makes you want to scream? Because the real agony of smoking isn't the black tar accumulating in your own lungs. The real agony is the look of quiet disappointment in their eyes. During the Ice Age, when the ancient man activated this toxic protocol, he did it for a deeply noble reason. He endured the poison so his body could survive the wilderness. He stayed alive long enough to hunt the mammoth. He stayed alive long enough to keep the fires burning in the dark. He stayed alive long enough to fiercely protect his tribe. He was the ultimate shield. But today, because of this ruthless evolutionary mismatch, everything has been sickened and inverted. When you step off that balcony and walk back into your living room, you are no longer the shield. You have become the biological predator inside your own home. You've become the threat to your own cave. The secondhand smoke you exhale into their air, the invisible, toxic, third-hand chemical residue woven into the fabric of your jacket when you bend down to hug your child. The exact same mechanism that was beautifully designed by nature to keep your ancestors alive is now actively, systematically damaging the lungs of the people you love more than anything else in the world. This is the true source of your torment. This is the profound, devastating cognitive dissonance tearing your mind apart. You were trapped in the ultimate biological rebellion. Your deepest, most ancient instinct to survive is now the very thing that is killing your pack. The evolutionary contract is broken. So, how do you fix a broken evolutionary contract? You don't do it with guilt. You don't do it by calling yourself weak. You do it with science. You do it by exploiting neuroplasticity to literally rewrite your brain. Welcome to the 7-second circuit breaker. Step 1. Cognitive forgiveness. The next time the craving hits, you have to stop the internal abuse. Do not insult your discipline. Instead, you say it out loud. This is not my willpower. This is a false alarm from my DNA. By separating your true identity from your biological instinct, you instantly relieve the agonizing pressure on your prefrontal cortex. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are simply observing a prehistoric glitch. Step 2. The physical override. The industry hijacked your brain with a high-speed 7-second delivery system, so you must build a 7-second physical obstacle. Lock your cigarettes in a drawer, put your vape in the farthest room of your house, make it physically impossible to reach without deliberate effort. And in that exact 7-second window, as you walk to get it, you execute the override. You drink a glass of freezing, ice-cold water, fast. That sudden, intense drop in temperature creates a massive physical shock to your vagus nerve. It jolts your nervous system. It resets your biological baseline. It forcefully overwrites the brain's desperate signal for that ancient pesticide. You are not relying on motivation. You are weaponizing your own physiology. You are taking the 7-second hack that the corporations use to exploit you, and you are turning it into the exact weapon that sets you free. You are standing on that balcony again, but this time you do not take a deep drag and let the smoke slide down your chest. You breathe in the cold air. You are not a weak addict. You are the descendant of the Ice Age's greatest survivors, carrying an outdated biological legacy. Today, you use your consciousness to rewrite your DNA. The greatest enemy of this evolutionary mismatch is awareness. Tell me in the comments, how many times have you looked at someone you love and felt that crushing regret? Where exactly did that moment happen? Share it. Take back control from your genome.